Chapter 21. First performance. Silence. Dozens of sleepers stared at Sunny, eyes widening, some confused, others in disbelief. Castor, the calm, noble legacy with that ever-so-polite smile, watched silently. Sunny blinked. "Oh, damn. An ascended aspect, that's it?" he scoffed. He was in too deep now. And just like that, the hostility in the room sharpened. Someone stepped forward, voice sharp. "Do you even know what you're talking about? Castor is a legacy." A legacy. One of the elite born and trained for the spell. Sunny's flaw pulsed painfully. Still, he smirked and doubled down. "You call that remarkable?" Someone finally snapped. "If you're so high and mighty, what was your appraisal then?" Sunny grinned like a madman. "Oh, mine. Glorious. Divine aspect. No big deal." Silence again. Until, chuckles. "Divine? Glorious? From an outskirt rat wearing a police tracksuit?" Sunny crossed his arms. "I didn't even train, unlike him." That was it. Disbelief turned into laughter. Someone asked, "Then tell us, what did you do in your nightmare?" Sunny smiled wide. "I killed a tyrant, with spit." "Yeah, that landed well." The sleepers were in stitches now. "You spat and it died?" Sunny nodded with mock pride. "Didn't even raise a hand. It was torn apart right in front of me." Pain throbbed in his skull as the flaw tried to push back. But it was all true. Technically. And what else? Castor was still smiling. Sunny threw up his hands. "Killed a swordsman, too. Had to wiggle a finger for that one." Laughter exploded again. It echoed off the academy walls like a comedy show. But behind the pain and insults, Sunny was victorious. They were buying it. "Anything else?" someone mocked. Sunny rubbed his chin theatrically. "Oh yeah, almost forgot. I talked to some dead gods. One of them woke up, gave me a blessing." Gasps. Then groans. This guy was on another level of delusional. Castor remained composed. "Thank you for sharing. I hope you're just as successful inside the dream realm." Sunny shot him a smug wink. "You better believe it." And with that, he turned and strutted away. Behind him, pity and mockery clung to every whisper. But Sunny? He was grinning. They all thought he was a lunatic, a liar, a joke, which meant he had won. Now, no one would ever believe the truth about his aspect. Even if he screamed it from the rooftops, they'd laugh it off. It was the perfect lie, hidden inside the truth. He passed a group of whispering sleepers. Why didn't Castor shut him up? Castor's calm voice replied, low and almost kind. "He must have gone mad inside the nightmare. Poor kid. He'll probably die soon." Sunny's smirk twitched. What a nice guy. But still, a chill ran up his spine. Chapter 22. Corpse Corner. He walked back through the crowd, head held high, and heart quietly bracing for rejection. Mockery, contempt, pity. Everywhere Sunny turned, he felt the invisible pressure of judgment. No one stood near him. And honestly, that was fine. They were acting like he had the plague. Well, technically, he was infected. But it wasn't a disease, it was the spell. And they were all carriers now. As he reached the far corner of the hall, he saw her. A single girl sat there in silence, pale blonde hair, porcelain skin, a quiet grace. She looked delicate, like she didn't belong here. But something felt wrong, off. Her expression, so blank, so still. Wait, no, her eyes, empty, expressionless. She was blind. Sunny's breath caught. That's her flaw? She wouldn't have survived the first nightmare if she were already blind. Which meant the spell had taken her sight in the appraisal. A cold chill trickled down his spine. And I thought my flaw was bad. He sat opposite her, quietly, carefully, respectfully. And he realized something terrifying. She was already dead. Not officially, not medically, but spiritually. She was a walking corpse. No wonder no one came here. She radiated something. Something people couldn't describe, but felt. Sunny glanced across the hall, and suddenly, he saw it. The social pattern, the instinctual sorting. The legacies were front and center, cool, calm, confident, born for this. The elite wealthy, well-groomed, trained by private awakened. They were smiling, chatting. The average middle class, decently educated, tense but hopeful. Then, there was Sunny. And the blind girl, the corpses. Outcast by fate. Written off before the story had even begun. How charming. And yet, there was one more anomaly. She leaned alone against the wall. Silver hair, eyes closed, music in her ears. Untouched by fear, detached, watching, even when she wasn't. Sunny exhaled. Everyone else? Already growing tired of waiting. And then, the giant appeared. Clad in a deep blue uniform, towering like a mountain. Wide shoulders, muscled frame, glorious beard. Sunny blinked. Is that a bear? Well, not exactly. Bears were extinct. But if a bear had a child with a military-grade war machine, that'd be this guy. The giant scanned the room. And for a brief second, his eyes found Sunny. Sunny's heart jumped. Please don't be telepathic. Please don't be telepathic. Then the giant stepped forward. His voice thundered across the hall. I am awakened rock. Sleepers, welcome to the academy. Silence. Breathless. Frozen. And then, in less than a month, you will be summoned to the dream realm. Sunny clenched his jaw. Some of you may think you're prepared. You're not. The spell is merciless and cunning. The moment you believe you're safe, you're dead. His tone was like carved granite. I've seen masters fall. I've seen saints perish. And I've seen hundreds of sleepers die. His words gripped the crowd like ice. And it worked. Fear bloomed like frost across their faces, which was the point. Fear keeps you alive. In the next 4 weeks, you'll train under the best instructors in the world. But don't be misled. Whether you survive depends on you. No one else. Not your family, not your friends, not your tutors. Just you. You are not children anymore. It's a shame because you should be. But the spell decided otherwise. You've already faced the first nightmare. You know the truth. You know what waits beyond. Sunny leaned back in his seat. Not surprised. Not shaken. He'd heard it all before. Still, he listened. Because fear wasn't weakness. It was fuel. Awakened Rock gave the final pause and said, Now, we will talk about the difference between nightmares and the dream realm. Chapter 23. Dreams and Nightmares. Sunny leaned forward, every nerve alert. He'd survived the first nightmare, but that didn't mean he understood anything. Now he was about to learn what the dream realm really was. Awakened Rock stood tall, his voice cutting through the tension. Most people know what nightmares are. They affect the real world. And yes, Sunny remembered. If he had died back then, a creature would emerge to feast on the living. Master Jet had been ready to kill what came through. But Rock's next words changed everything. Second nightmares don't come from people. They're born in the dream realm. That meant anyone could try to stop them. But if they failed, gates would open. And when they did, monsters flooded the real world, cities fell. A rank 5 gate had once wiped a continent from the map. Sunny swallowed hard. This wasn't just some game. Awakened exist to enter the dream realm, to hunt these nightmares before they hatch. A storm was coming, and Sunny? He was about to step right into it. The dream realm is vast, ancient, and dead. But it hadn't always been. Once, long ago, civilizations had lived there, powerful ones. Magic ran through their bones, not wires, not steel. Mysticism, soul cores, forgotten miracles. Sunny imagined those ruins, temples buried in cursed sand, towers collapsed under cursed stars. And then he remembered. That black mountain, the chains, the caravan. His nightmare. Was it real? Had that slave ever truly lived? Was that horror a memory the spell refused to forget? We believe nightmares are illusions built from history, memories of what once was. And Sunny began to feel like he wasn't just surviving fate. He was becoming part of its echo. Rock raised a hand. 4 fingers. First, there's no story, no script. In the dream realm, you roam freely if you can survive. Sunny narrowed his eyes. Sure, freedom. But with his fated trait, trouble would always find him. Second, no one lives there, only monsters. But then, a cold silence. Some of them can mimic humans. Wait, what? Sunny's heart pounded. That was new. And the legacies? Not even blinking. They already knew. Third, you won't unleash a creature in the real world if you die there. That sounded good, right? Right? Fourth, there are no limits. No caps, no balance. You could meet an unholy titan and never even see it coming. Sunny grimaced. Stick to weak zones? Sure. He was definitely planning to try. The dream realm was waiting. Soon, the solstice would arrive and draw them in. You won't know where you'll appear, but you might land close to each other. Sunny imagined it. Falling into darkness, waking in chaos. If you find each other, stick together. Head for the nearest human citadel. They surround the gateways. Gateways. The key to survival. Once found, once claimed, that was the moment a sleeper became awakened. And with it, came a second aspect ability. Sunny's eyes narrowed. He wasn't afraid of the fight, but what if he woke up in a place no one had ever survived? What if there was no citadel? Let's hope for the former. Follow the instructions. Head to your dormitories. Supper's available. Interviews will follow. Just like that, it was over. Rock gave a final nod and vanished from the stage. Sunny? He leaned back. His brain was still digesting all of it. Unholy titans, mimics, dead civilizations, monsters with no rules. But there was something more urgent on his mind right now. What exactly do they serve for supper around here? Chapter 24, Moving Up in the World, a private room for Sunny. It had a bed, a bathroom, even clothes with the Academy emblem, neatly folded and warm. The walls simulated a snowy park beyond the glass fake, but breathtaking. To someone from the outskirts, it felt like royalty. I guess we're moving up in the world, huh? He smirked at his own shadow. It didn't answer, didn't care. But Sunny? Sunny felt it. The shift, the climb. And for the first time in a long while, he allowed himself to feel proud. He summoned the runes. Memory. Puppeteer's Shroud. Memory rank. Awakened memory type. Armor. Its description chilled him, a cocoon of black silk left behind by a parasite that consumed a righteous king from within. What came after? No one knew. And now, that cursed silk wrapped around him, soft, quiet, deadly, perfect for a shadow walker. It made him calm. Too calm. A worm of doubt, huh? Mental defense? Maybe. Whatever it was powerful. And it was his supper? He'd dreamt of this. Meat, real meat. Juicy, seasoned, limitless. Rice, sauces, fruit, vegetables so fresh they made his mouth water just by scent alone. And no rations, no measuring, no control. Sunny filled his plate like a starving animal. Every bite? Heaven. His soul wept. Damn spell. Why didn't you infect me sooner? He devoured his feast like a condemned man on borrowed time. Then regretfully, he left. The interview awaited. The Academy worker was kind, friendly, manipulative. Just as Jet warned him, they offered psychological counseling. Sunny declined, politely. Then came the questions. Would you mind telling us about your aspect? Not really sure. I couldn't even hurt a towel. He danced around the truth, crafted answers that painted his aspect as weak, boring, utility-based. In the end, they believed it. Perfect. He returned to his room, undressed, and slipped into the cleanest sheets he'd ever known. Sleep came instantly. Morning. Breakfast. But there was only one empty seat near the blind girl from before. Cassia. The one they called cursed. Sunny sighed. Outcasts, huh? Fine. But then, a commotion. Crowds gathered by the screen on the wall, whispering, gawking, stunned. How can this be? He looked, found his name near the bottom. No surprise. Only one ranked lower the blind girl, Cassia. But above them, Castor ranked second. And above even him, her, Nephis. Name, Nephis. True name, Changing Star. The cafeteria exploded. A goddess walked among them. And Sunny just kept chewing. Chapter 25. Wilderness Survival. Sunny stared at the cafeteria screen, stunned. Nephis had a true name. The realization was thunderous. Everyone gasped. The room fell into reverent silence. Her portrait floated above them, silver hair, calm expression. And right beneath it, Changing Star. Sunny clenched his fists. Me too. He wanted to scream it. Wanted to be seen. He had a true name too. But instead, he stayed quiet. Hidden. Like always. Across the cafeteria, he noticed Castor, staring, not at the true name, but at her real one, Nephis. What was their connection? And why did her name seem to strike something deep in him? Sunny kept chewing silently, but his thoughts were racing faster than ever. The murmurs built. A sleeper with a true name? That's impossible. Maybe she lied in the interview. Are you stupid? If it was that easy, Sunny would have been ranked first. Crazy pervert, someone muttered. Sunny blinked. That one stung. A moment later, Castor stepped forward. Everyone watched as he bowed low before Nephis. Lady Nephis, I am Castor, from the Han Li clan. I see your trial went well. Nephis raised her eyes. Calm, detached, unbothered. She smiled. It is what it is. Castor bowed again, awkward, but sincere. And then, she returned to sipping her coffee, utterly uninterested in the world's reaction. Sunny exhaled, grabbing his fork again. How mysterious, he muttered, then focused back on what mattered most. Breakfast. The wilderness survival classroom was empty. One man sat behind a desk, wild hair, leaping eyebrows, eyes full of curiosity. Ah, come in, young man. I'm awakened Julius. Call me Teacher Julius. Sunny blinked. Sunless. Sunless. What an ominous name. I love it. Sunny hesitated. Am I early? No, you're right on time. There are just no other students. Brutes. The lot of them. All muscle, no brains. Sunny sat, already regretting abandoning combat class. Why'd you choose wilderness survival, Master Jet advised me. Julius's eyes went wide. Jet? As in Soul Reaper Jet? The one who shreds soul cores. That Jet? Sunny blinked again. Soul Reaper? This just got interesting. Julius leaned in, voice lowered. Jet isn't the strongest awakened, but she's the most feared. Her aspect doesn't care about flesh. It attacks the soul directly. No armor, no defense, just pain. He grinned wildly. Good thing she'll never be a saint. Sunny blinked. Why? Julius scoffed. Her personality, of course. Who'd risk their life to help a psychopathic killer ascend? Then he froze. Wait, why am I gossiping with you? That's not in my character. Sunny smirked. Too late, Teacher Julius. And honestly, wilderness survival might be the best class he could have picked. The first day of class nearly broke Sunny's brain. Dead languages, survival tactics, dream realm geology? Why do I need to know ancient runes? The spell auto-translates. Julius slammed the desk. The spell is not a translator. There are 30 different words for death, young man. Each one tells a different story. You think that doesn't matter when you're alone, injured, and lost inside a ruin? Sunny groaned. His brain ached. He hadn't even had lunch. When the sun finally dipped below the horizon, Julius waved him off. Come back tomorrow. We're learning how to sleep on poisonous moss. Back in his room, Sunny collapsed into a chair. Then turned to his shadow. All right, let's see what you can really do. Chapter 26. Changing Star. He sat alone, silent, focused. Sunny stared at his shadow. It wasn't just a shadow. The spell had called it an invaluable helper. And now, it was time to find out why. He concentrated, tapping into that strange, instinctual knowledge buried deep in his soul, and then, the shadow moved. It slid away from the soles of his boots, across the room, and stopped. Sunny gasped. He was seeing from two angles, two minds, two bodies, through his own eyes and the shadow's. Whoa! The shadow tilted its head at him. Whoa! It echoed. A grin spread across Sunny's face. I can scout, spy, lurk in the dark. Child of shadows. Shadow control. The perfect stealth aspect. The perfect spy. The shadow darted under the door, gliding along hallway shadows, sticking to the darkness. Sunny closed his eyes and focused on the second perspective. He eavesdropped on conversations, silently stalked the corridors. Then, his shadow slithered near the girls' dorms. Sunny's heart skipped. No, no, no. He clenched his fists, cheeks turning red. Not because of morals, but if anyone asked, I want to be able to say no, honestly. He's a spy, not a creep. Right? Right? The dojo was alive. Sleepers took turns striking a machine, each punch measured and calculated. Most scored between 10 to 14. Enhanced ones, 15, maybe 16. Then came Nephis, the changing star. She stepped forward. And, with a clean, elegant motion, slammed 16. Sunny blinked. That's it? He expected more. She had a true name. She carried mystery like a second skin. But it was Castor who dropped jaws. Bam! 21. The room erupted in whispers. Instructor Rock smiled. Not bad. But then, Nephis stepped forward again. The sparring matches began. Begin. A mountain of muscle charged. 1 second later, he was on the floor. Nephis hadn't even moved her stance. Next, another. Down. Then another. Then another. Sat back stunned. Her expression never changed. Her footwork never wavered. She predicted everything, redirected force with grace. Was she even human? Sun and shadow don't mix, he whispered. If she's the sun, I better stay far away. Only one stood now. Castor. He stepped into the ring, calm, collected. He bowed. Lady Nephis, please excuse me in advance. Sunny leaned forward. What's he planning? Their eyes locked. Nephis stood like a statue of moonlight. Castor smiled gently. The moment stretched, and then Sunny's eyes flew open. What the hell just happened? Chapter 27. Measure of Power. Castor vanished. No, not literally. He moved so fast that eyes even trained ones couldn't follow. If not for shadow sight, even Sunny would have missed it. Just a blur. In an instant, he was upon Nephis, his punch like a thunderbolt. She twisted, barely. The hit clipped her shoulder, spinning her like a top. Castor vanished again. Behind her now. His body surged forward, all momentum compressed into a brutal strike. But then, she moved. An elbow fast and sharp. Wait, what? It was all a feint, a trap. Castor's eyes went wide. But his speed, his damn speed, barely saved him. He twisted, tripped her, caught her collar midair, gentle. She hit the ground like a falling feather. The duel ended in 2 seconds. And back in his room, Sunny's jaw dropped. That's not fair. That's not human. Sunny was stunned. An ascended aspect, that's just not fair. Castor was a legacy. That much was clear. But Nephis, she hadn't even used her aspect. Not once. Not once. And yet, Castor barely edged out a win. Only a few noticed. Instructor Rock, Castor, Sunny. The rest? They were too busy idolizing a victory that barely existed. She could have ended that fight, if she really tried. Sunny swallowed hard. What the hell is she? The shadow curled deeper in the dojo corner as if shivering in agreement. Later in the locker room, Castor stood surrounded by fans basking in attention. But his face? Stone. Their words bounced off him like paper bullets. That Nephis girl stood no chance. True name? Pfft. Who cares? And then, a boy laughed. She's just a wannabe peasant. Castor turned. Slowly. Eyes cold. Do you not know who she is? The room froze. Castor's voice dropped. Nephis is of the immortal Flame Clan. Dead silence. He continued. Her parents were Smile of Heaven and Broken Sword. Sunny nearly fell out of his chair. The Smile of Heaven? The Broken Sword? History, legends, heroes, and Nephis was their legacy. But then Castor whispered the truth. They're all gone. She's the last one. Midnight. Everyone asleep. Sunny crept into the empty dojo. He stepped into the ring. Where they fought. Where monsters danced. Monsters, both of them. He turned to his shadow. Do you agree? The shadow crossed its arms, puffed its chest. But even it couldn't fake confidence right now. Sunny shook his head. Power, legacy, bloodlines. Didn't matter. Broken Sword and Immortal Flame couldn't protect their family. Not from the world. He walked to the measuring machine. Raised his fist. Smack result, 9. Seriously. Another punch. Still 9. His hand stung. His pride bruised. Damn it! Anger welled up. Fist clenched. He struck again, this time with all of it. All the bitterness. All the shame. And then, something awoke. Shadow control. The shadow rose up wrapped around his fist like liquid ink. A black glove. His punch landed. Doom! Sunny winced in pain, then looked at the screen. 18. Not 9. 18. He stared. Then, grinned. Ah, so that's why. He looked at the shadow-gloved fist. What an invaluable helper, huh? He laughed. For real this time. Now we're talking. Chapter 28. Training Montage. Time flew. Sunny had 4 weeks. 4. Just 28 days to prepare before being hurled back into the dream realm where death lurked at every turn. So he moved. Fast, focused, relentless. By day it was survival theory with teacher Julius from basic fire starting to obscure celestial navigation, except the stars in the dream realm were insane. Different regions had different skies. Constellations made no sense. Moons changed. Suns misbehaved. But still, if you knew what to look for, you could live. And Julius? He didn't teach like textbooks. He went deeper. He taught the why. That knowledge, it stuck. It changed everything. Sunny started to see the patterns. He wasn't just memorizing survival tricks. He was beginning to understand the dream realm itself, even dead languages, surprisingly valuable. At first, Sunny had rolled his eyes. But then Julius explained, the spell, that cosmic force that rewrote fate spoke in runes. By understanding it, you could decode its intentions. Take Nephis's true name, Changing Star. Sounds poetic, but in the rune language, that could mean Star of Change, or Ruinous Star, or worse, Star of Misfortune. One word, one connotation, one fate. That's the kind of nuance you only get when you study the ancient tongue of the spell. Sunny wasn't just learning. He was unlocking a deeper layer of reality. A part of him wondered, am I becoming like the spell? Julius didn't just teach from books. No, every other day, it was practical training. Sometimes in the forest, sometimes in full immersion VR stations, with enhanced pain feedback. Yeah, that kind of simulation. Sunny came out of each lesson bone-tired, limbs aching, eyes twitching. But his body, stronger, faster, more balanced. This wasn't the same Sunny that survived the first nightmare. This version was sculpted, pushed to the peak of human condition, and in the hours left over, he still sent out his shadow to spy. A silent scout, a quiet thief of secrets. Sunny didn't sleep much, didn't socialize, didn't fall in love like the others. He trained, and trained, and trained. The shadow reported back nightly. But it had issues. Sure, it could scout, sneak, and eavesdrop. But it was clueless when it came to what mattered. Sunny would get reports like, Room 34's kissing Room 29, or someone snuck 2 desserts from the cafeteria. Not helpful. But every now and then, a detail about someone's aspect ability would slip in, and that was gold. Sunny learned, cataloged, stored it all. He stayed distant. He couldn't afford closeness. Because if he ever had to share his true name, it would all come crumbling down. So he remained the outsider, the watcher in the shadows. And while others danced through romance, Sunny learned to enhance weapons, armor, objects. Anything his shadow touched hit harder, endured more. Almost double its normal value. All without being noticed. Shadow's slave was quietly becoming terrifying. Weeks blurred into days. Days blurred into hours. And then, the winter solstice arrived. Sunny hunched over rune texts, bruised from VR trials, surrounded by notebooks and old relics, looked up, and realized the clock had run out. He had pushed himself beyond what he thought was possible. Mind sharpened, body hardened, shadow stronger than ever. The others partied, laughed, fell in love. He just trained. And now, it was time to face Dream Realm again. He clenched his fists. Let the solstice come. I'm ready. Chapter 29. The Last Day on Earth. Sunny stirred in bed, but couldn't shake the weight. It wasn't exhaustion. No, it was that creeping stillness before the storm. Just like before the first nightmare. Just like dying on Black Mountain. This was the last day on Earth. He stayed wrapped in his blanket, body tense beneath the quiet. No point guessing what awaited in the dream realm now. He had prepared, trained, survived. But that didn't make it easier. The cafeteria was hushed. No jokes, no laughter. Even the legacies sat in brooding silence. Sunny sipped his sugar-laced coffee, trying to ground himself. Then, Cassie turned to him, her blind eyes piercing like moonlight. Happy birthday. He blinked. What? Right. Today he turned 17. How did she know? Thanks, he muttered. The silence returned. But something inside Sunny stirred. This isn't a bad way to spend a birthday. Let's do it again next year. He said goodbye to teacher Julius. Effie, the old man gave one last tip a dozen times, tears brimming in his eyes. Then came the call. Instructor Rock gathered them beneath the crimson sky. Snow fell. The silence was thick. But they didn't go to the pods. Instead, they entered a silent hall. Wheelchairs, blank eyes, still bodies, dozens of them. Rock's voice cut through the gloom. These are the hollow. All once like you, strong, brave, now empty. If you're lucky, you die. If not, you become this. Sunny's breath hitched. This was no longer just survival. This was soul-deep terror. In a room of metal and silence, Cassie stumbled through her pod chamber. Tears streamed silently. In another, Castor mumbled, staring at the floor. Over and over. A phrase Sunny would never hear. His hands trembled. Elsewhere, Nephis. Soft light pulsed beneath her skin. Her lips tightened in unbearable agony, silent, stoic, alone. And Sunny. He turned to his shadow. Well, are you ready? The shadow shrugged. Sunny sighed. Yeah, me too. He climbed in. The pod sealed. The light faded. No sound. Then a voice, vast and echoing through the dark. Welcome to the dream realm, sunless. Silence shattered. Breath held. And reality was no longer Earth. Chapter 30. Starless void. Silence. Darkness. Then, welcome to the dream realm, sunless. Instantly, water crushed him. Salt filled his mouth. Panic clawed at his throat. But there was no light, no sound. Just the weight of the ocean and blindness. It wasn't just dark, it was the absence of light itself. His shadow sight. The gift of his aspect kicked in. A faint awareness, a sense of up, a direction, hope. He swam, gasping, breaking through the surface with a ragged breath. The sea stretched endlessly beneath a pitch-black sky. No stars, no moon, no hope. This can't be an ocean, right? There has to be land. And then, a fin, triangular, gigantic, cutting toward him with terrifying speed. No, 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 move! He swam with everything he had. His shadow wrapped around him like a second skin. Speed surged through him, but the nightmare closed in. Just as the fin closed in, he reached it, a black, jagged shape above the water. A rock, no, a platform. He scrambled up, cutting himself on rough stone, crash. The water exploded behind him. From the depths, jaws, rows of teeth, each bigger than his body. Why is this thing after me? I'm not even a meal. Then, thwoom! A tentacle thicker than a tree shot from the deep and dragged the monster under. Silence. The sea returned to stillness. Unbothered. Indifferent. It wasn't hunting me. It was running from something else. Time passed. No more monsters. No attacks. Just stillness. Sunny took stock. The platform was 12 meters wide, unnaturally flat. No stars above, no land in sight. Only void. Oh, and he was naked. Really? Again? He summoned his memory aspect notification. Puppeteer's shroud equipped. Dark gray clothes wrapped around his body. Boots hugged his feet. Warmth. Safety. A moment of peace. He sat, pulled his knees to his chest and looked up. This place? It's not on any dream realm chart I've ever seen. Of course, anyone who came here probably died. He looked for his shadow. Invisible in this pitch-black world, but he felt it. Good work earlier. You really saved my ass. The shadow didn't respond. It never did. Time passed. Long, slow minutes. He laid down, hands behind his head, gaze fixed on the empty sky. No stars, no warmth. No promise of tomorrow. Yet the sound of waves was almost comforting. Then a shift, a whisper. The rhythm of the sea changed. His instincts screamed. He opened his eyes. Gray light. One tiny sliver of the sky brightening. A pale sun rising over the horizon. Daybreak. Even here, in the void. A new beginning. As the sun rose, the sea changed. Waves grew. The surface pulsed. Something was happening. The starless void was not going to remain silent. Sunny tensed. His platform so small, so fragile. The darkness wasn't done with him yet. All right? Let's see what you've got next. And somewhere deep below, the ocean answered.
And that closes chapter 21 through 30 of Shadow Slave. Sunny survived the Academy's brutal hierarchy, uncovered Neff's terrifying legacy, and pushed his shadow to new heights. But just as he sharpened his body and mind, the solstice arrived. And now, he's cast into the dream realm for the first time. These 10 chapters, we've seen illusions, truth, and lies collide. Sunny hides his strength behind humor. Nephis reveals nothing, yet dominates all. And in the starless void of the dream realm, even predators run from something worse. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Shadow Slave chapters 21 to 30, Don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more. Next, we'll dive into chapters 31 to 40, where new bonds form.
Answered.